Hey guys, I wanted to make this first video on the channel. Um, I'm a knife collector. My favorites are traditional knives. Um, I prefer case more than most. I have others, and you can probably see it here. I have Bokers, old timers. I have a plethora of different ones, but by far my favorite is case knives. I think they're very collectible and a good American brand. They're just my overall favorite. But I wanted, for my first video here on the channel, I wanted to show you all my entire traditional knife collection. I have right at 40 case knives. And then overall, I think I have about 52 traditional folders in total. Now, all these aren't just regular traditional folders. I have a Swiss Army knife in here, a few lock blades, but for the most part, these are just regular traditional knives. So I've got them sectioned off here. You can't see them all. I've got some piled off in different places, but I've got them sectioned with Trappers, Congress, Stockman, all the others, right? So my goal with the channel is to continue to build and grow my collection. Now, for the most part, I will probably just be getting case knives because that's what I am wanting to collect the most. So that's where they will be at through the channel, is mostly case knives. Now, I will review separate patterns individually, like Trapper, Canoe, Stockman, different patterns. We'll have different videos, and if I get a new knife, I'll make a video on it. And I'll try to make a video for all the patterns I have. The goal with my case knife collection is to try to get one of every type of knife. And I prefer that they be different handle materials. I only have a couple materials that are similar, and I think I only have 2 knives that have the same handle material in my whole collection. So yeah, I have a few odd little knives in here, but I'll go ahead and get started. So I guess we can start off with the Trappers. It's one of the biggest ones. As you can see here, we'll go ahead and start with this one. This right here is a Kentucky Wildcat Trapper. This is commemorative of their 1996 National Championship. This is the case it came in. I got this for $50 at a flea market, which I thought was a pretty good deal. The guy had 2, and I ended up getting the 96. I would have bought them both, but a guy had came in and bought the other one before I could. Here it is. It's got really deep blue handles with the 90s shield. I really like these handles. I like the knives from the 90s. My favorite is early 2000 knives. It's my early 2000 case knives, where I think when they were at their peak, because they weren't the exact same quality as back in the 70s, but they had still really good quality, I believe, and they also had really nice handle materials. Their handles looked really good. In the 90s, in the 80s and the 90s, they started transitioning to cooler materials like this. Like, this is still jig bone, but it has like that blue tint to it. And if you'll notice, almost every knife in here has bone, some sort of bone handle or wood handle. That's my favorites. I have very few synthetics in here. The ones I do have, most of the time they were gifted or a good deal. So if I'm paying good money for a knife, it'll most likely be a case with bone handle. But yeah, this is Kentucky. I live in Kentucky. I'm a UK fan. Just about everyone in Kentucky is a UK fan. So this was a good find, I thought. That's my first Trapper. I guess I'll go with the other one over here. Now this is in one of Case's velvet boxes. It didn't come, this case did not come with this knife. This knife came in just a regular standard cardboard box. I put this knife in here because the knife that did come in it, which I will show you in a second, it fits with it, but I think that this knife needs to be in this more. And I will go ahead and show you the knife. This is a mini trapper. This says Disciple on it, and it has verses Matthew 28 verses 19 through 20, and it is not wanting to focus. There we go. You can see that there. Now this is a newer knife. This was a gift. I got this for Christmas. It has a regular clip and spay blade on it. Like I said, this is a wood handle. This is, I think the mini trapper is one of Case's best. I only have one Case mini trapper because, like I said, I don't like to buy doubles. If I'm being honest, in my collection, I haven't bought a double of any knife. I've been gifted a double for most of my knives, or not most, but some of my knives. However, a lot of them are different. Really, the only ones I have doubles of are my trappers. But yes, there's that one. And then these through here are all trappers as well. So we'll go ahead and this one. This was my first Case trapper. One of my first Case knives I actually got. This is in Bone Stag. That back, I think if you get right Bone Stag, it can look prettier than regular stag, personally. I think it looks beautiful. Now, the front also looks really good. That's why I got this one, because I thought it was a really good looking Bone Stag. Now, you can get some bad looking Bone Stag, and I do have some, but I also have really good. So, this is from the early 2000s, and it has that tag stamp there. Those are my favorites. Again, this has just the regular clip and spay, and that's all of my trappers do. This one was very special. This was gifted to me from my mom and dad for Christmas. I'm a big turkey hunter. I love turkey hunting, and I also like shotguns. I have quite a few of them. I might show you all my gun collection one day. But this is awesome because it has this natural bone handle with the turkey tracks, and the shotgun shield. It's the only knife I have with that shotgun shield, and I love it. And it's also got really good action on both blades. Nice and clean. I like this knife a lot. This normally will stay in my gun cabinet, but I did pull it out for this video. Next one up here. This is a Hen and Rooster. This is my only Hen and Rooster. Picked this up at a vendor's mall, actually. I believe this is dyed blue bone. I'm not a huge fan of non-USA made knives. If I had to pick a favorite, I would probably pick either the old Bokers or Hen and Rooster, because I really do like Hen and Rooster. The reason I bought this, actually, I thought the handle was cool, but on the back of this blade here, and I don't know if it will show, you can see where it's etched, but I'm not sure if it's gonna focus. I don't think it will. You can't see it, but it does say on the back of this blade right there, you can see it, prototype. And I thought that was really cool that I ended up with a prototype knife as my only Hen and Rooster. This was a gift. This is, like I said, one of the only non-bone or stag knives I have. This acrylic knife, I got this for Christmas from one of my aunts, which was very nice of her. It's the same exact knife as that turkey knife right over there, just different handles and a different shield. It is neat looking. It's a good trapper. I would almost carry this. It's very neat. Funny enough, my brother, this is his favorite in my collection. He don't really like knives, but this is probably one of my least favorites, actually, but it's one of his. Not to say that I'm not appreciative of it. I'm very appreciative of every knife I get because these can be expensive, especially a case knife. So I'm very appreciative for it. Next, this was also a gift. This is a Kiss and Crane. This is I play football. It's my favorite sport. I think it's the best sport, but I thought this was really cool how it has different. It's got pearl for these, for the NFL and American flag colors. Wood for the football, and then synthetic for the field. But I thought that was pretty cool. The blade etching is also really neat. Football tradition since 1892. And on the other one it says "No guts, no glory." And I think it's a really neat trapper. Now I'm going to skip one here and I'll come back to it in just a second. This is my only other mini trapper. Now this is a newer Boker. I got this for Christmas from my grandparents. Sorry if I sound a little congested right now. My allergies are messing with me real bad. This is bone handle. This is a newer Boker, but I really like the green in it. I think it's a cool knife and it's got good action to it. Now this next one is not a trapper. This is a saddle horn. However, I kind of think of it similar to a trapper with the main clip blade. It just has a similar feel, except this handle pops up. This is in gray jig bone. I'm not a very huge fan of this. You don't see saddle horns a lot. This is a newer one. You don't see them a lot. When you do, I don't tend to find them in the handle material I like. They make them in stag, but they use the Damascus steel, and I'm not a really big fan of that. I don't think it looks good on a traditional knife. But it has blades that I love, with the clip blade and this Skinner blade. I think it's awesome with that swedge on it. This is a CV knife. That stands for chrome vanadium. That's just a different steel. Most of my case knives are standard. They're standard stainless steel. CV takes on a patina, which is different from rust. It's more of a coating over the steel to keep it from rusting. It just darkens the steel, makes it look dirty, but it won't come off. So I try not to buy a lot of them. I'm not a huge fan of it. From what people tell me, chrome vanadium is better steel to work for, but I don't really use most of my knives to work. The only one that I will is my Sawbuster over here. I'll show you in a second. And even it's stainless, so there's that. Those are all my trappers and my saddle horn there. Since they're back here, I'll go ahead and show you these. So this is my big clasp knife. This is a Buffalo. I think this is really cool. The clasp has always been a really cool knife to me. This is an older one from the 70s. This one is. It comes in this wood box. And then here is a pocket hunter. Now, I think they look really similar. That's why I placed it over there. I don't have a full-sized hunter yet. That's one of the ones I'm planning on getting, and then this will go with that. But I think the hunter in similar shape is the same. Just the Skinner has a thicker clip blade. But the pocket hunter, this is a limited edition, one of 2,500. Again, from that early 2000s era. It has the clip and the Skinner blade. It's a very small knife, like it says, for a pocket hunter. This is very beautiful green and blue jig bone handles. And it has the arrowhead shield, which I really like. So there's the pocket hunter. This is a Kiss and Crane elephant's toe. I pointed this out to my mom. I liked it, and I wanted it for Christmas. I ended up getting it in my stocking that year, and I really like it. You can see it's got that bass right there on the blade, but it's very neat. This is a cool. I've always wanted an elephant's toe. They're super expensive to get a case knife, and much more expensive to get them in the handle you want, or at least that I want, because I would want some sort of bone, and they only came out with those in that pattern early 2000s. Again, like I said, that's why I like it so much, and they didn't come out with a lot, so they're hard to find. And when you do find them, they're between like $250 and $500 depending on the one you find. So I try to get good deals on most of mine. I don't mind paying full price, but it has to be in new condition, and even then it hurts. Most of the time I try to get a good deal because most of mine come from gun shows, flea markets, a few off eBay, but yeah, there's the elephant's toe. We'll go ahead and show you my Stockmans here. This will be a longer video. I should have said that at the beginning. I wanted it to be a nice video. This right here, I found this at the flea market. This has Case, all their different logos burnt into the nice bone here, which I really like. It's kind of toasted almost. The back isn't as pretty, but I do enjoy this. This is a jumbo Stockman. I'm not a fan of this clip blade. I feel like it looks weird. I'm not a huge fan of the Stockman pattern anyway, except for one of theirs, which I'll show you in a little bit. But yes, this is the jumbo. Here's a large Stockman. This is from Elk Ridge, actually. And as you can see, the emblem's gone. I got this for Christmas from my grandparents as a somewhat cheaper knife that I could use to work with. It was in my stocking, and I got it out and opened it up, and the emblem fell out. Got lost in all the wrapping paper around us, so don't have that. I'll use this to work, though. It's an alright little knife. It ain't bad. Now this is a Boker. It's a somewhat newer one. It says Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This one's neat because even though I really do not like the handles on it, I'm not a fan of that color, it has a punch blade instead of a sway blade, which is really neat. Now, this is my favorite Stockman pattern. This is the Case 47 pattern, and I actually have two of this pattern. I don't have the same handle, but I have two of this pattern because I really like it. This is one from the 90s. I really love the rounded, long oval bolsters on it, and I really like this nice, thick, big, sharp clip blade on it. And I also really enjoy this spay blade, how it kind of is a little bit thicker on the front and sort of slims down in the back. It's different, you know, I enjoy that. This one's neat. I picked this up really recently. This is my newest one. This is also a 47. Except this is in the olive green bone, which I didn't have, which was really nice to find. And it has the Case barn shield. Now, this was a exclusive at Tractor Supply. You can only get it from there. Now, luckily, it don't have like Tractor Supply etched in it anywhere, which is nice because I feel like that would devalue it a little, but I think it's a really good looking knife. Next up, this was a gift from my dad. This is a Case Stockman. This is the 18 pattern. I don't like this one as much, not the specific knife, but the pattern. I had another one and I traded it, but I don't like it as much because it's got a really slim, skinny clip blade, like a California clip. The spade blade's also skinnier on it because it's a smaller frame, but it is not wanting to focus very well today. You can kind of see it there. 10-year anniversary, CCI. He got this for me for Christmas. This is also a CV knife. Most of the time when you buy peach seed jig like this, which I also love that handle material, when you buy that, it almost always will be a CV knife. Next up, this is a little old timer. This is a limited edition one. It was a set of 3. One of them is a fixed blade, so I didn't put it in this video. The other one is a little pen knife, but I've got it down there. It is limited edition. It's actually works pretty good. It's a nice little Stockman, but it's made in China. I'm not really big on them. So yeah, those are my Stockmans. I don't have too awful lot. I'll have 4 Case Stockmans. I guess we'll go ahead and go to these. These are my Congresses, and first one is my Case one. I only have 1 Case Congress, and you cannot see it. It's really hard to see unless you're in person. You can kind of see it there with the light. It's a deep purple. And I love that. This is one of my absolute favorite knives. I love the Congress pattern anyway. But to find it in this deep purple, and I got it for a pretty good deal. I think I paid $60 for it. It's from that early 2000s era. Most of my favorite knives are from there. It's got awesome sheep's foot and spade blade, or not spade, sorry, spear blade, with that long pull on both of them. And then it also has a coping blade and a pin blade on it right there. Now all my knives are fairly sharp. I don't ever sharpen them. I don't really use most of them, so they are all pretty sharp. Next up, I have, this is called a Buck Creek. They give these out at my church for Father's Day, and they had a lot of extra, so they started handing them out, and I ended up with a couple. It actually isn't that bad of looking of a knife. I actually kind of like that. The blades are not very great on these. I think it might just be 4 sheep's foot blades on these. Oh, no. There is a coping blade and a pin blade, huh? I don't really look at these that often. But yeah, it does have 2 sheep's foot. So that's a neat little knife. I mean, I got it for free, so I'm not complaining. And this is the exact thing, just in like a brighter pinkish color. It's not even red, just pink. So that's pretty cool. This last one here, this is a Boker. This was one of my first actual traditional knives that I started. This is when I actually started collecting. I didn't have but very few case knives. My dad bought this for me for Christmas. It's just in that dark red bone. This is a Tree brand Boker. This has 2 sheep's foot, pin, and a coping blade like the rest of them. Very nice and tight. I like the action on that knife. So those are my Congresses. I'll save these for last because those are my favorites. I guess I'll go ahead and show you all a couple of these locking blade knives over here. You can't see them. This right here is a tribal lock. It's Tony Bow's pattern. It's got that nice spear blade, and it is a lock blade. You can hardly tell, but it's pretty cool. It's got that bullet shield with the XX bolsters and this American flag bone handle, which is really neat. And with it, I had this locking knife. This is an old 70s Cheetah. And now I traded on this. I didn't get the best deal on this knife. I got a little swindled on this knife, if I'm being honest. But the knives that I traded, over time, those knives are going to go down in value, and this is going to go up. So overall, I still think I did all right on this knife. I think it's a beautiful knife. It don't have the most beautiful bone, but it's worth a lot of money as it stands, and it'll only get higher in value as it gets older. This next one is one I really like. This is a Muskrat pinch bolsters with that gold bomb shield on there. Now the Muskrat is a neat pattern where it has 2 skin and clip blades, and those are really neat. They used this when people would skin their animals back in the day. If one knife got dull, they wouldn't have to sharpen it. They could just turn around and use this one and then sharpen them both at the end of the day. So that's pretty cool. This right here is my Teardrop, another Tony Bow's pattern. This is in Bone Stag. It has half stops. This is a smaller knife, but I got it in a handle that makes it look really thick until you get back here where it's super thin with this little thin blade on there. But I think it's a really neat knife. I enjoy it. This here's a Rust Lock. Most people have a lot of trouble using it one-handed. I can't do it super fast, but I can do it pretty fluently. With this liner lock, it's pretty neat. This is, I believe, Case's first time trying on a original knife, but this is very beautiful. I got it in this navy blue bone handle with the Case red shield. We still have quite a few knives. There's a lot of knives here. These are my Peanuts. This is one of my favorite knives, actually. This is in Blue Lagoon handles. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't care about this knife too much, but I love those handles. And then this clip blade and the pin blade on it both have nice half stops, which I think is pretty neat. On such a little knife like this, to have half stops is pretty neat. So there's it. And then behind it, this is, they call this Eagle Edge. This is just a cheap little knife. I got it for, I think, a couple of dollars. This is from Kentucky Cutlery. You've probably never heard of that. It's just a cheap little knife, but I'll use it like if I need it. Like, it's on my little desk here. If I need to cut something, it's always right there, and I don't have to worry about sharpening it or getting it dull. Anyway, here's my swaybacks, another Tony Bowes design. This is my regular just swayback with half stops. It's scratched a little on the blade. I got this as a Christmas present from my mom. It's in that pocket worn old red bone, which is really pretty on the back here. So there's that. This was also a present. This was from my dad. This is a swayback jack, so it has half stops on both blades as well. It has the regular Wharncliffe and then the pin blade on it. And this is in dark green Bermuda bone, but I kind of refer to it as watermelon bone personally. That's what it looks like to me. And then here we have, this is a razor knife. Again, this is from that sort of early 2000s era. Limited edition, one of 2,500 again. It's in this deep sea blue handle with the Saturn shield. This is my only knife with that shield. I think it's really unique with that razor knife blade and the pin blade also having half stops. I think it's pretty neat. I'll show you my Barlows next. This one here is a Founders Edition Stag Barlow knife. I thought that was really neat. I got that. It is worth quite a bit of money, and I paid quite a bit of money for it. I got that at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. So I thought that was pretty cool. Here is my emerald green Barlow. This is the knife that was supposed to go in this case back here. It's got the nice anvil shield, and it's got punched bolsters with also pinched bolsters on it. Well, bolster, my fault. It also has half stops. I got this for a pretty good deal. I got it for 80 bucks. I thought that was a fair price. That's my only other Barlow. I really enjoy this knife. I think it's a pretty knife. My next knife here is an electrician's knife. It is beat to crap. It's got a hawksbill blade and then the locking electrician's blade. It's got a screwdriver on it. I think it's a really neat sort of design. I only bought this because I found it and he had it for like 25 bucks. I was like, any case knife that works is worth about 25 bucks, so I got it from him. It's just like regular synthetic brown handles it's from the 80s. This was a user. My dad's an electrician, so I thought it was pretty cool. It's got the bail on it. I always like having a bail on my knives. Next we'll go with these. This is my medium-sized toothpick. This is also in Bone Stag. I have quite a few. I actually have about 4 knives in Bone Stag. So that's probably the most of the same handle material I have. But if I was to get any handle material multiple times, it would probably be that one. The back, again, looks way prettier than the front. That tends to happen a lot. This is a newer knife. The medium toothpick is a pretty cool knife. Then here's the baby Texas toothpick. This is pocket worn old red bone. Same as this sway back there. It's very small, but it's pretty neat. That was also a gift from a friend of mine. Next, I'll show you these. This is my canoe. This is also in peach seed jig. So there's two. I have one here and then my CCI knife over there. This is CV steel as well, and it's really cool that has that etching of the Indian and the canoe on it. That's why I bought this knife, because I figured if I was going to get a case knife, a case canoe, I might as well get one with a canoe on it. So I thought that was really neat. And then the pin blade. The action on these is amazing, as always with a case knife. Oh, I take that back. I won't say as always. Most of the time it is. And with it, I have the butter bean. This knife, I'm not the hugest fan of this knife. This is also Bone Stag. The back of it looks horrible. I admit that. The back of it looks horrible. The front also doesn't look super pretty. I mean, it's better than the back, but it also is not very pretty. The reason I bought this, it was $30. It was from the era I liked, and it was a butterbean. And I needed a butterbean, so I went ahead and bundled it with my pocket hunter back there and got it, both of them, for $60. I'm not complaining. It's not the prettiest or best knife, but it isn't horrible, and I like the butterbean pattern anyway, so I'm pretty happy with it. This is a baby doctor's knife. This was my mom's. She gave it to me because she didn't really want it. This is lime green bone handles with the diamond shield. It has your regular spear blade, and then it also has a spatula blade for the doctor's knife. Something cool about these is the reason that this is a squared bolster right here is that they would use it to crush pills. So I thought that was pretty neat, or anything that they needed to. I thought that was pretty neat. This is a baby doctor's. I would like to have a regular doctor's knife. I haven't found one that I wanted in the handle I want yet. Hopefully eventually I'll find it. That's one I'm looking at right now. I'm also really wanting a gun stock really badly, but I just don't see them a lot. I can see quite a few on eBay, but they're never the price I want and hardly ever the handle. So we'll see. Next, here I've got a Case Eisenhower. The Case Eisenhower is just a regular pen knife, but they call it the Eisenhower now instead of the pen because President Eisenhower would give all his cabinet members and people he would talk to at the White House, he would give them all one of these case knives, and I thought that was pretty cool. And they all have his signature on the first blade. Now, it's definitely not going to show up. Oh, it did right there, kind of. This is also from the early 2000s. But yeah, that's a pretty cool knife. This is one of the rare cases. This one and my Blue Lagoon knife right here, where the front actually looks prettier than the back. So I thought that was neat. Next knife here is another pen knife. This is just a little old timer, another limited edition. It came with that Stockman there. So there's that. I've got my Swiss Army knife, my Victorinox here. If you're a traditional knife collector, I suggest you should have a Victorinox somewhere in your collection. I actually bought this for my brother, and then he ended up not wanting it, so I went ahead and kept it. It's got a nice pin and spear blade. It's got the toothpick, which I thought was kind of neat, and the tweezers. And it's hard to find them with these unless you buy them brand new. It's got the can and the bottle opener. I know I said that wrong. It was bottle and can opener, but there's these two. And then it's got a saw blade on there, as well as the corkscrew. And if I am being completely honest, I do not know what this blade is for. If someone in the comments could tell me, I feel like I really have no clue what it could be for. If someone in the comments could tell me, that would be awesome, because I would like to know. But there's that. We've only got a few more left. I'll show you this one. This is a old locking back. It's basically a old timer version of the Buck 10. My grandpa, this was his knife. He gave it to me, so it's pretty sentimental. Came with this scrayed leather sheath. This was back when old timer was made in America, and they were a pretty popular brand until they moved to China. they're still a good little working knife that you can throw away. But yep. Next up, this is my Sodbuster, my synthetic. This is my first ever case knife. This is Black Synthetics. This is Sodbuster Junior. Actually, it has the little etching here with the plow on it. This is probably the best working knife you can buy, if I'm being honest. I mean, that knife right there is probably about a $30 to $35 knife, depending on where you get it. It's super cheap, but it probably would work better on anything than almost any one of these expensive knives out here. So there's that. That was my first case knife. It was very sentimental to me. This is my other Sodbuster. This is in bone handle. I got this as a gift from my grandfather. He got this at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. I think it's very pretty with this brown chestnut jig on here with the arrowhead shield as well. I think that's a very beautiful knife. We only got 2 more sections. We got our copperheads and our whittlers. So here's my first one. This is a case Caribbean blue bone, saw cut jigged copperhead. This has this nice Wharncliffe blade, nice action on both blades with that and the pin blade with the half stops. I got this at Smoky Mountain Knife Works as well. This next one is a mini copper lock. I don't have a copper lock. That's another one I want to get to complete the copperhead family with my case knives. This one's also CV with that red peach seed bone, and you can see it's starting to patina in this corner. I didn't clean it when I first got it because I didn't really know. This was one of my first knives that I got, and I didn't know what would happen, so I didn't clean it, and it's starting to get some patina on it, but that's okay. It'll happen eventually. I think this is a very good action knife, which you can't really have too horrible of one with a lock blade, but I thought that was pretty cool. My next one here is super neat. My parents, for their anniversary, had went to Alaska, and they know that I really enjoy knives. And, well, my hope is that one day I can buy a knife in every state. I thought that would be cool, but they went, and they had got me a knife from Alaska. This was made from genuine whale bone. It says Alaska here on it. Someone had made this handmade with the whale on it. And it's got the really neatly designed scrolled bolsters with this spear and pin blade right here. It says Scrimshaw Collection on it. I thought that was really cool. And then my last one, this is a baby copperhead. This knife has pretty bad action, if I'm not going to lie. This is probably the knife that I'm most disappointed in with case. It didn't have horrible action when I bought it. It was alright, and then the more I've had it, the worse it's gotten. And it still has okay action. The pin blade isn't horrible, but like even there, right there, I tried to close it, and it didn't even go. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm very happy with this knife. The rest of them I am. This is in Red Stag. So I paid quite a bit of money for this one, and I was a little disappointed in the outcome I got, but it's okay. My last one here is my favorite group. If I had to make a top 10 list, every knife in this group would be in there. These are my whittlers. Now, they're all different. This is a Seahorse whittler. This is always in top 3, most of the time top 2. I love this jade green blue handle. The Seahorse whittler is very unique with this thick Wharncliffe blade, this nice cool coping blade, which you don't see on many knives besides the Congress, and then this pin blade. The shape of it's also very neat. It fits in your hand really good, and it's got the arrowhead shield. It's also from the early 2000s, which I believe every knife in here is, except maybe this one. Yeah, that one isn't, but the rest of them are. So yes, there's that one. This is a humpback whittler. If this knife had, I don't know, the Blue Lagoon handle, or this salmon bone handle, or the jade handle, or even the really deep purple handle, this would be my favorite knife, period. I love this knife. I love the design of it. This is probably my favorite pattern knife. It's hard to, fully decide, but this knife, it's got a very long spade blade, which is really neat. A pretty long pin and a really nice shaped spear blade on it. With the pinch bolsters and the way it's got these little indentions for you to, pull these knives out. It's super awesome. And I love how every blade, this one has probably the shortest swedge. This one has a swedge, really long one. And on the back of the spade blade there, you got a nice long swedge. This is also from the early 2000s. But it's in this goldenrod bone, which is one I did want. This was a bucket list bone. However, it isn't as pretty as some of the other ones. I still think it is. This is definitely a top 5 knife. However, it isn't my favorite just because of the handle material. Now, this knife is also very cool. This is just a regular Whittler. But it has scrolled bolsters, which is neat. This is the only case knife I have with scrolled bolsters. And I like the Whittler the way it has this nice thick clip blade and then has a shorter clip blade. I think that's really cool. And then obviously it's got its pin here. I think that's awesome. I think it's got this really nice, deep, almost crimsony bone, which it's not crimson, but that's the color I'm giving it. I think it's very, very beautiful. This is the last one we'll end with. I'm pretty sure that is all my traditional knives. It is. This is a very pretty knife. A lot of people don't think it is. My mom says it looks like a wound. The camera doesn't pick the color up as well as I would like it to. And it never will. It's really light on the camera, but in person it's much more reddish pink. It's got this clip and this pin blade. Now this is a half Whittler. It is missing the shorter clip, but it can't have it because of where it's a smaller knife. I love this bone. In person it looks better, but it is still pretty on camera, I think. I love this salmon color bone. So, I know this was a long video. I tried to keep it under 45 minutes. I really like my knives. This is my entire traditional knife collection. Thank you all for staying with me this long. Most of my videos will not be this long. But this is how I want to start the channel, by showing you what I already have. And I would like to grow my collection along with you guys. And I will probably make special videos about especially the Trapper or the Canoe or the Toothpick or any of my other ones. Just to kind of review them and give my opinions on them. But yeah, this is my collection. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll try to upload more, especially if I get more knives, but that's a video. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.